What is up, guys? It's Dan the Man, and today I'm back with round 4 of the spring UF Chess Club. And I apologize for the hiatus in recording. I had some stuff going on academically, but I'm back. And as of round 4, I have a score of 2 out of 3. If you remember from the third game, I played a bunch of only moves. My king was in the center, somehow not checkmated or losing a bunch of material. And then my opponent got into a low time, and I won a really very interesting bishop endgame of opposite colors. So yeah, that was definitely a roller coaster of a game. And round 4, I'm playing against Quintin Tanksley. Funny thing is that I know his twin brother, but I don't know him. So I told him I knew his twin brother, and then we sort of started talking about stuff before the game. But anyway, going into the game, I have the black pieces, and he has the white pieces. He's rated about 1879. So he starts the game off with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6. Also, if you guys do not remember, this is a 25 plus 5 time format. So not ample time to think, but it's also not blitz, so it's kind of a hybrid. So here we have another Spanish game, but I was sort of scared of going into the same Berlin defense and getting into the same hectic position. So I switch it up, and I go with a6, which is the more common move. It's more popular than the Berlin defense, although I play both. Not equally, but I do play both. He moves the bishop back. This is all theory, developing the knight. This is also theory. d3 to defend the pawn, b5 to kick the bishop, bishop back, bishop to c5. He castles, and I go h6 just to stop the pin on the knight with bishop to g5. And now we're just worrying about developing our pieces and getting into a normal middle game. So here he plays c3 with the intention of playing d4, and I play d6. If d4 were to be played, I would just move my bishop back, and life would go on. I'm also just opening the path for my other bishop to develop. Pretty simple move, nothing too complicated. Here he plays a4. It's a common motif in the Ruy Lopez. Whenever black pushes to b5, the white can often undermine the pawn on b5 with a queenside pawn like a4 and try to open the files on the queen side. So his threats to take on b5 because that would open the a file. So I play bishop to b7 to defend the rook if he were to take and trade. So here he plays knight d2, knight b to d2 rather. I castle, and this is just a pretty slow game, pretty positional. This is going to probably involve a lot of maneuvering or repositioning our pieces here. So here he plays rook e1. Again, very slow chess. Just bringing pieces to optimal squares and figuring out what to do later. He plays knight f1, rerouting to g3, and the goal is for the knight to land on f5. And you're going to see in a few moves that the knight does land to f5, and it's going to pose a bit of a nuisance for me. So here I play queen e7, which is just not a good move. And the reason for that is because after knight g3, I was trying to move fast, and the point is why it's not a good move is that my queen is walking into being attacked with knight f5. Like, I'm going to have to waste time moving my queen to where I should have moved it a move ago, and then I'm just going to be giving a free tempo to white. So I should just move the queen somewhere else, but for some reason I don't do that, and I go rook on a to d8, just trying to get more pieces to the center. But you're going to see that knight h4 is played, and both the knights are eyeing the f5 square. And even if I try to prevent that with bishop to c8, the thing is that both knights are aiming at that square. So if one lands there and I take it, the other one's just going to replace it. Now the craziest thing here is that bishop a takes b5. I guess Quintin thought he can throw in this move because nothing is stopping knight f5. What I didn't see is that I just took back immediately. What I didn't see is this apparent bishop sacrifice. This is really cool. I did totally overlook this in the game. Bishop takes f2 check. Very forcing move. If you don't take, I take your rook. So let's say the king takes. The point is to go knight g4 here. If the king goes back to g1, that's just asking for trouble, because after I take on h4, I'll be threatening the h2 pawn. So the king f3 looks bad because I can take on h2 with check, and king f1 doesn't look too great. Actually, yeah, king f1 just walks into another check. So white's essentially forced to move the king here, and the engine goes into this line where after takes and takes, even though I'm down a piece, white's king is pretty precariously placed, and I can play knight takes h2 here, threatening bishop to g4 to win the queen. White's knight is hanging. And even though they can hold on to it with a move like knight f5, takes and takes, yeah, this position is just really wild. I mean, the king's on e2. I'm down a piece, but just look at the compensation I have. It's a draw, but this is definitely not going to end in a draw. So yeah, I totally missed this bishop takes f2. It was not even on my radar because, again, I said in the beginning, this is going to be a pretty boring game, pretty slow game. I was not expecting to have any sort of tactics here. So I just naturally take back, and now the problem is that he just puts his knight here. Apparently the other knight was better for some reason, but it's not that big of a difference. We're not going to fret about that. So here I take, and the point is that the knight takes back. He replaces the knight with the other knight, and again, because I put my queen on e7, it's just going to have to move where I should have put it originally. So I play queen f8. In my position, it's just not good. Even though I'm not down any material, how am I ever going to kick the knight out? White has better center control, and white's got a bishop and a knight attacking h6. White can play queen h4 to add a third attacker. I don't really have anything going for me. So here he plays queen f3, which is actually an even better move than queen h4. Queen h5, and the threat is pretty simple. All he's going to do is play knight takes this pawn, and after I take back, he'll take on f6 and just totally shatter my king side. So I can't allow that, and so I play the move knight h7. And I don't think the sack is worth it. Yeah, just because I have my queen there, I have an extra layer of protection on the h-pawn. So here, he plays bishop d5, and he thought he was winning a pawn here. Apparently that's not the best move. I thought this was a really good move because after I play knight e7, what he does here is he plays takes, I take back, and then he plays bishop to c6, and he's forking the rook and the pawn. So naturally I have to save the rook, right? And then he takes on b5. And here he's just up a pawn, and he has a queenside majority. He has these two pawns against my 1c pawn. And he has the bishop pair. He has an open rook. White's just having a great position here. So I try to come back in the game. I play knight g5, and I would like for white to take me because I would get my queen to a better square. But he doesn't do that. He plays queen g4, and the problem is I can't move my knight because bishop h6 would hang. Bishop h6 would come, and I can pretty much resign soon. So I try to defend as long as I can. I try to make some counterplay. I play queen to f6, attacking the f2 pawn. And here, Quintin makes a big mistake. Here, he should have just played... Engine says queen f5 is best to try to trade. I mean, why not trade, since you're up a pawn in this endgame? Or maybe even taking... or even maybe like sliding the queen here for some reason. Just defend my threat. But what he does here is actually a pretty logical move, but it just evaporates his advantage. Here he plays the move bishop to e3. And apparently that's not good because I have the option to trade. Now you might say, Dan, why is that bad for him? It's because that bishop was actually a critical piece in pressuring my king side, and now that it's gone, I don't really have to worry about any sort of sacking on h6 or moving my pieces or anything like that. And also when the dust settles, after rook takes e3, I have the option to go rook b8 here, which I didn't play in the game. I played rook a8. But you'll notice that the bishop on b5 and the pawn on b2 are kind of loose. So I actually can win a pawn back here, and white just has a lot less firepower than they used to have. So here I play rook a8. He trades. And here he plays queen d1 to defend the back rank threat. And now it's totally equal. I'm not positionally cooked anymore. And I can go rook b8, which I do, just lining up on the bishop and the pawn on b2. He tries to resist that. He plays the move c4 here. That way the bishop doesn't have to move. And here what I should do, I was getting low on time. I had about maybe a few minutes on the clock here. Here I should have just played the very natural move knight e6 with the intention to reroute to d4. And I'm just going to have a knight on an excellent outpost and just have a better knight versus a bad bishop, even though I'm down a pawn here. So, but I didn't do that. My idea was to play, if that were to happen, was to play c6. I thought this was fine too, forcing the bishop to move because I'm attacking it with a pawn. So after the bishop took, I was expecting I was going to take on b2, and I thought this was good too because I thought in my mind, well, how is white ever going to stop me from going to d4 with my knight? They have to deal with the threat on f2 first, and once they do that, once they deal with the threat on f2, only now will I play knight e6, and I thought this is an equivalent version, if not better. So here he plays the move rook e2. It's actually his only move to not be losing here. And here I was actually calculating for a bit, like 2-3 minutes here, which is out of my 5 minutes, which is not great. I don't know exactly, but I didn't move immediately. What's the point? I was thinking a long time about knight f3 check, but that move is just bad. I thought I was winning a piece here, or winning the exchange, because I thought, okay, well, the king obviously is not going to move to f1, because at very minimum I can take on h2, and if the king goes to h1, then I can play. If the king goes to h1, I can take on e2, like this. I can trade rooks and go knight d4, and then fork the queen and the bishop. So he's forced to take my knight. So here if he plays the move g takes f3, my idea would have been queen takes f3. And there's actually some pressure on his rook. It's pinned to his queen, so he can't move the rook anywhere. He has to defend his queen somehow. If he plays rook e1, he hangs mate in 2 with queen takes f2, queen h2. And if he plays king f1 to try to defend the rook that way, he actually just walks into queen h1 checkmate. But I saw for him, unfortunately, he has this move rook d2, and I just don't have anything. I'm just down a piece. Like, there's just nothing here. So I was kind of bummed out that this idea did not work because of this rook d2 resource. So I'm like, fine, we'll trade. And then we trade. I go knight e6. He actually offered me a draw here, and I said yes, because it's true my knight's going to d4, and it will be better than the bishop, but I am still down a pawn, and there's not really much going on here. Everything's symmetrical, essentially. We were both low on time, so we shook hands. We agreed to a draw here. I kind of got lucky again, kind of a common thing that's been happening in this tournament. And if we take a look at the accuracy, we both played decently, but I wish I played a little bit better. We both played at about 84 accuracy. So we have a score of 2.5 out of 4 here. And I'm trying to aim for 3 or higher. Or at least, well, even if I lose the last round, at least I'll have 50% or more, which is my goal for most tournaments. So I felt like we were in a good position regardless of what happens. So stay tuned for that game, and I hope you guys like this content. If you like more videos like this, please don't forget to smash the subscribe button if you haven't already, and leave a comment. Let me know what you thought of the video, and have a great rest of your day or night. Bye.